Hi, welcome to Universal Interiors. I'm Les Inglestead along with Uni Fegley. And we're pretty excited. What's going to happen today is we're going to take a little Q&A time for you. The questions are going to come from the audience.
What is the difference between Christianity and religion?
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one. I don't want to make it too easy to answer something that okay, I've heard that before, but first thing that comes to Les's mind is that they're so different. They're just so different because Jesus is Christianity. His law of love was basically to say, it's about having a relationship with me. Religion makes it a whole bunch of rules. What do you think, Missy, when you hear that?
Well, it's a unique question, especially where I'm at in my life,
Sure.
because even though Christianity is saying yes to Jesus, inviting him into your life, and he is the leader of your life, which is what it is all about.
Sure.
But religion is the rules.
Yeah.
But the rules are important as well. So in my mind, I would say Christianity is we get to, religion is we have to.
Okay, that makes sense too. When I have, which is true, like you said, is important, but like with me, I look through the ways of all the different religions in the world, and I get really a little bit uptight when somebody says, well, they're basically all the same. And then that gets me just a little bit oh, but no. So you kind of answered it that you get to, you can never do enough, ever, to get the peace that God just promises to give if you trust in him. So Christianity is just the simplest childlike faith.
That's the biggest.
Makes our God the happiest.
A child.
Yeah. And in religion there's so much, but I know one time long ago I read a book and it said something along the lines of they're looking for something in shop, you're just going along window shopping and you see this little present in the window and one of them says, free, take me. And the other one says, it costs a lot and it both looking about the same. I hope this is pretty close to what I remembered, but people aren't going to quite get it when it says free, take me kind of a thing, because you feel like you have to pay something.
You gotta work for it.
Something. You got to work for it. You can't just get it. And but that's the idea of grace. That's the idea that Christianity was seriously founded on and is about. But we get kind of messy as people because we think we have to. We have to do something. It's got to cost us something.
Or another thing is we can go in the ditch of grace, or we can go in the ditch of rules, do.
Yeah.
Jesus made it easy when he said human being, just be, not doing. We're not human doings.
Nope. And yet and then we come along the side of religion and you can catch this performance. But you got to do something.
Yep.
And the word talks about faith over and over again, and it's not until you get shook sometimes you really understand where your faith is at, or you can just kind of go, you know what, I'm in for a ride. I got it good. It doesn't matter because I'm here and I've got it forever because I've chosen Jesus. So in Christianity, that should free us up to not be fearful. And yet, at the same time, I think that gets missed a lot in Christianity. I think we still have fears out there. And that shouldn't be part of it. But maybe I've left the subject on that idea.
Did that answer the audience's question? Any other questions?
So why is it important to get baptized? So we, without wanting to say our way, their way, we're not at all trying to tell anybody any which way to run it. What I know Uni would agree with me 100% is read it for yourself in the Bible. It's as simple as that. Many people, and I'm not trying to take over this, but many people, especially in our community, in our culture, not even culture, but let's just say in the Midwest, with our Scandinavian heritage or German heritage, we come from more or less the Lutheran side, where they have the baby and the Catholicism and they have the baby baptism. But then there's many out there that we don't have so much around our area. The Baptist, evangelicals, all that sort of non-denominationals will have the baptism when they're older, right? So I was one of those raised baby. So I was baptized, had the little sponsors growing up in my denomination. But I also came to a relationship on my own when I was 18. And with that came a newfound idea. And that baptism was, I'm making a confession out loud with my lips today. And it was one of the greatest days of my life, because I walked in, it was a midnight in Colorado, and walked into a pool, and this is what happened for me personally, is that as I was there, they said to get immersed is to get under, because baptismo means to get under the water, and to walk out in newness. And with that particular, I was blessed enough to have my husband, who was at that time my best friend, and we did this baptism service. But what ended up happening was the young preacher that was with us said to me, you see that little drain over there on that pool? And we're both like, I mean, we're pretty young, we're just listening, we're like, okay, we're gonna do this. And it was right, we knew it was right. And he said, that drain right there, when you come back out of the water, everything's washed away, because that's what you claimed, that's what you confessed, and that's what you're standing on. And to this day, I know my whole heart that can't come back. He even said, sometimes the enemy, sometimes those words, sometimes our old life, the things that we just messed up with, can God forgive me? He was telling me this during that service, and he said, all of that is washed away. That water will never come back on you, will it? You can't get that back. You're cleansed, you're clean. And that is a very important part of my step in my faith, was that baptism that day. And never forgot it. I can remember right where that drain was. And yeah, it cleaned me right on up, literally. But at the same time, in my whole spiritual being, I knew what that baptism for Leslie Engelstead meant. And how about you? Another story for sure.
Well, yeah, I remember it was probably about 14 when I was baptized. I remember my dad actually baptized me, and it was just that step. You give your life to Jesus, for me anyway.
Right.
You give your life to Jesus, and that's another step to say, I want immersed, and you come out like you're saying, but it was like, the old man is drowned. He's just drowned, and you come up and you walk out fresh with a new mindset.
Yeah, that's huge.
So yeah,
right?
So you
get help. Now you're helping. The Spirit is there to help you, because we can try all we want.
I think with a baby, like in our denomination, we do like a baby dedication,
Right.
and I think that maybe like an infant baptism would be kind of maybe like we dedicate this baby to the Lord. I don't know.
And I was raised in a denomination, and I did ask that in later years too, and it was because in the Word talks about that we are born in sin. And because of that, people have literally said, okay, so then you're impure. But we do know how perfect that baby is. But at the same time, out of respect, I'm saying this, I guess that's why the denominations oftentimes do it. And I pray that it's not a fear, it's just a faith thing that they've done. And then in following about the time maybe Eunice had said 14, there'll be a confirmation of that faith. So that's the best we can explain it. We're not trying to tell you how to, shouldn't do. But
look it up.
Yeah, it's a great gift that God gave us. And we celebrate the opportunity to share some of these questions and answers, according to us girls, that we just want you to enjoy life and have a beautiful today.
Yay.